What am I missing? Anderson? Where? It should be x to the power 2. Do you see that, Tessa?
Yes.
Do you guys see that? Why is it x to the power 2?
Oh.
Anyone? Ashton? What about the parentheses?
Without the parentheses, wouldn't it be 4 because
Very good.
parentheses, it's like adding.
Very good. So if we had 4x squared, right? That would just be 4x squared. 4x to the second power. This 2 has to go to the 4 and to the x. Do you guys see that? So it's 16 because this is 4 squared and then x squared. Don't forget, if your exponent is outside the parentheses, that exponent needs to travel to each individual part of your expression, okay? So not only is the 4 being squared, but the x is being squared as well. Now, does anyone know what 1/2 squared is? Carlos? Absolutely right. Nice job. How did you get that? Very good. Carlos is just like, well, if you square something, that means you multiply it by itself. So 1/2 times 1/2. 1 times 1 in the numerator is just 1. What about the denominator? 2 times 2 is? Quattro. 1/4. So if you used the FOIL method, you should have gotten this same answer, okay? Now, be honest, people on Zoom, you too. If you got this right before I went over it, raise your hand. Okay. Where'd we mess up on, guys? Was it silly mistakes?
I just used the wrong formula.
Used the wrong one? Did you use a squared plus 2ab
Yeah.
plus b squared? Okay. You foiled?
Yeah, and then I messed up on the fractions.
On the fractions, okay. So this is a good example, guys, if you foiled to get some really quality work with your fractions, okay? Because it's 1/2, but everything should have been nice because the 2's and the 4's would cancel and like simplify. So everything should have been about like a multiple of 2, okay? This is why we do these problems. All right, so today, guys, what we're doing is we're starting lesson 8.5, factoring x squared plus b squared plus c. I'm sorry, x squared plus bx plus c. Go ahead and copy down the objective, and that's it. Just copy lesson 8-5, factoring, and the objective. And then I want to talk about this next line before you guys copy it down. So copy up to this point here. Okay? When we're looking at two binomials multiplied by each other, for example, x plus 3 times x plus 7. The x's get multiplied, we get x squared. The two number portions, the 3 and the 7, you actually add them together to form that x term, right? And then the last term is just the product of those two numbers. So the 3 gets multiplied by the 7 to give you that last term. So it ends up, when you FOIL it all out, to be x squared plus 10, which is 3 plus 7, and then plus 21, which is that last portion, okay? Now, don't copy this down, just listen, okay? So a rule of thumb for you guys is that the x squared is going to be added with b, x. That b represents your sum, and then the last term, c, is your product. That means that it's whatever those two number portions were multiplied together. So we've got b, which is our sum, and C, which is our product. Okay, now you guys can copy down that line. Copy down until this portion right here. Really quickly, I just want to do 2 examples. They're going to be really fast. I want you to write them down on the side over here, okay? Underneath this line. So let's say we had x plus 4 times x plus 6, okay? What you guys can do now is just write, okay, this is going to be x squared. Add the 4 and the 6 together. What do we get? Plus 10x. And now multiply the 4 and the 6 together. What do we get? Plus 24. Easy, right? Did I just blow your mind? A little bit, right? Okay, hold on. We're going to see why this works. Let's take another one. Let's take x minus, or let's do x plus 7, x plus 2. What am I going to start with? X squared. Add them together. 9x. And multiply them together. Plus 14. Cool? Now, if you FOILed these, you would get the exact same answer. Alan, what's up?
So, you don't need to do the...
Hold on. I'm getting to why this is working. Hold on. Okay, next one. Let's try x minus 3, x plus 4. Okay, instead of 3, we're going to think about it as negative 3. So this is still going to be x squared. What happens when you add 4 and negative 3? What do you get, Tessa?
You get plus
1. So this is just going to be plus 1x, or just x. And what happens when you multiply them together?
It's going to be negative 12.
Minus 12. Okay? Now, look at these 3 examples and the original one that we did. Why are these, we consider these special cases? Why would we consider these special cases? Think about what's inside the parentheses. What's the same each time inside the parentheses? X. X has to be by itself with no number in front of it in order for this to work, right? Because look, if there was a 2 here, would we be able to do this? You see this 2 up here? No, this would not work, okay? It has to be x plus or minus a number, x plus or minus a number, okay? In order for us to apply this. Are we good? Alan, what's up?
What if it's 2x on both? Can you still do it?
No. If it's 2x on both, you still can't use this. You can FOIL, right? But you got to go through the whole process, okay?
For the last one, can you just use the a squared plus b squared?
Roy asks, for the last one, can we use a minus b, a plus b, that formula? No, why not? Tessa?
Oh, I don't know. Wait, no, that one.
So Roy is asking, for this last one, can we take, remember we had that formula a minus b times a plus b equals a squared minus b squared. Right? Carlos?
You don't have an a or what?
We do have an a. A is x. We don't have a what? Janessa?
Is it because like the 3 and 4 are different?
Correct. The 3 and 4 are different, right? For a minus b, a plus b, you have to have a consistent b. In this case, this is our b and this is our b. Are those the same? No. Okay. So we can't apply that formula. Does that make sense, Roy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what we're doing is we're going to be given this formula and we're going to be asked to write it factored out. So in terms of x plus a number and x plus a number, okay? So what you guys need to look for is, okay, what 2 numbers multiply to give me 15, this number, which is your product, but add together to give me 8? What two numbers multiply to give me 15 and add together to give me 8? I want you to write them down. See if you can think of them and write them down on your paper. So I want you to put the first one here and the second one here. What two numbers multiply to give you 15 and add together to give you 8? Alan, what'd you get?
3 and 5.
Very good. So this factors to x plus 3, x plus 5. So remember, this is the number that you're going to multiply to get, and this is the number that they add up to, okay? They multiply to give you 15. 3 times 5 is 15. And if you add them together, 3 plus 5 is 8. Okay. What about r squared plus 11r plus 24? R squared plus 11r plus 24. What are two numbers that multiply to give you 24, but when you add them together, they give you 11? And if you can't think of it, let's think of all the multiples that multiply together to give us 24. Give me two factors of 24. Anderson. 6 and 4. 6 times 4 is 24. What happens when we add 6 and 4 together? 10. Does 10 work with 11? No. So this is not 6 and 4 are not the multiples. What else are multiples of 24? Giancarlo.
3 and 8.
3 times 8. That gives us 24. Good. What happens when we add 3 plus 8? 11. Is that what we wanted? Yes. So we just write x plus 3 times x plus 8. We found our factors. Alan?
What happened to the R?
I'm sorry. It should, you're right. It should be r. It should be r, not x. Thank you, Alan. My bad. Nope, it doesn't matter the order, it doesn't matter anything like that, okay? You could have written r plus 8 times r plus 3, okay? As long as you've got both factors down. Okay, let's do another one. Let's say we have y squared plus 3y plus 2. I need two factors that multiply to give me 2, but add together to give me 3. Janessa? Good. 2 times 1 is what? 2. We add those together, what do we get? Is that what we were looking for? Absolutely. So we just write it as y plus 2 and y plus 1. Our two factors, our 2 and our 1. Now, again, guys, the more practice we do with these, the better we'll get at it, and the more it'll make sense. Now, we only covered the positive scenario, okay? But what happens if B is negative? When you multiply them together, they give you 24, positive 24. Can anyone think of two numbers that when you add them together, they give you 11, and when you multiply together, they give you, negative 11, and when you multiply them together, they give you positive 24? Anderson? Negative 3 and negative 8. Negative 3 and negative 8. Negative 3 times negative 8 will give you 24. Negative 3 plus negative 8 will give you negative 11. So what is my factored form of this expression? Tessa, what do you think?
It's gonna be parentheses x minus 3 parentheses x minus 8.
Roy, do you agree?
Yeah.
Maya, do you agree?
Yes.
Angelina, do you agree?
Yes.
I agree as well. Okay? Beautiful. Beautiful. It should be x minus 3, x minus 8. So, guys, when you guys are looking at these problems where the b is negative, one of the factors, either one, needs to be negative, right? You can't just have a negative just because you feel like it, right? If everything in your equation or your factored form was positive, all the terms would be positive. So whenever you see a negative, know, okay, something has to be negative. Let's take a look at y squared minus 6y plus 8. Any ideas as to the two factors that when you add them together, they give you negative 6, and when you multiply together, they give you 8? Ashton, what do you think? Ah, very good. Negative 2 and negative 4. Negative 2 and negative 4. If we multiply these together, what do we get? Positive 8, good. And if we add them together, what do we get? Negative 6. Is that what we're looking for?
Yes.
Absolutely. So what's my factored form, Angelina?
Y minus 8.
Nope. Think about your factors.
Y minus negative 6.
Nope. So these were the two numbers that we wanted in our final expression, right? But what did we use to get there?
Oh, negative 4.
Good. So y minus 2 times y.
Minus 4.
Good. Okay. Here's your tricky one. Okay, did anyone figure it out? Ashton?
Is it negative 1x?
No.
Oh.
If you didn't figure it out, that's a good thing. This one you can't factor, okay? There is no combination, because what are the only factors of 2? 1 and itself. So 1 and 2. If you multiply these together, it doesn't matter which combination you use, whether they're both negative, both positive, this will give you 2, right? But negative 1 plus negative 2, that gives us what? Negative 3. Is that what we're looking for? No. Guys, this you cannot factor. I mean, you can. It does have factors, but we're not learning about it today, okay? You'll learn about this later on in Algebra 2, and later on down the road. But right now, we would just write, you cannot factor. Guys, and sometimes that's going to happen. You're going to look at a problem, you're going to be like, ugh, I've tried this so many different ways. You just can't factor it, okay? I'm not going to be that evil. I'm not going to give you this on like a test or a quiz, okay? But it might show up on your homework, okay? So make sure that you guys are practicing so you can recognize, okay, this definitely is not a factor. There's no factors. Okay, let's take a look at another scenario. Back. So when b was negative, were our factors negative? Both of them or just one? Both. When that's going to happen? Oops. What happens if c is negative? And let's take x squared plus 2x minus 15. So we need two numbers that when you multiply them together, they give you negative 15. But when you add them together, they give you positive 2. So when we multiply them together, they give us negative 15. And when you add them together, they give us positive 2. This one's tricky. But I think you guys can come up with it. Ashton, did you get it?
I think so. Either one of them can be negative, right?
Correct.
So I think that would be like negative 3 and 5.
Negative 3 and 5. Let's plug them in and see if that works. What's negative 3 times positive 5? Negative 3 times positive 5. Negative 15, that one works. What's negative 3 plus 5? Do they both work? Ah, so let's write it in our factored form. This is going to be x minus 3 times x plus 5. Okay. Hold on. C is negative. Only 1. Let's see if that holds up, though. Let's see if that always works. Okay, so n squared plus 9n minus 36. I need two factors that when you multiply them, they give you negative 36. And when you add them, they give you positive 9. Roy? Let's start. Give me two factors of 36. Carlos?
Negative 3 and 12.
Ah, negative 3 and 12. Negative 3 and 12. Negative 3 and 12. Let's try it. What's negative 3 times 12? Negative 36, so that one holds up. What's negative 3 plus positive 12? Nueve. Haha. Was one negative, one positive?
Yeah.
So that's holding up still. I think it's safe to say that's a common trend, right? So let's write this in factored form. Nicole, give it your best shot.
N minus 3.
Mm-hmm. What?
N plus 12.
Good. Okay. N minus 3, N plus 12. Think about it like this, guys. If you're confused as to which numbers to use, remember 9 and 36 were already used here. Don't use those again, okay? Use the other ones. The two factors, the 3, the negative 3, and the 12. All right, last one. C squared minus 4C minus 21. C squared minus 4C minus 21. We need two factors that when you multiply them, they give you negative 21. And when you add them, they give you negative 4. Tessa, you think you got it?
Yeah, got
What is it?
Okay, so it's -7 and 3.
Negative 7 and 3. Let's test it out. Janessa, what's negative 7 times positive 3? Negative 21, so that one's good. What about negative 7 plus positive 3?
-10.
What's that?
Isn't it -10?
Mm-mm.
It's not -4 though,
Why?
because it's supposed to be -3 plus 7. -4?
It's negative 7 plus 3. So which one's bigger, 7 or 3?
7.
So we know our answer is going to be negative. And what's the difference between 7 and 3?
7 is bigger.
What's the difference, though, when you subtract them? 7 and 3. What's 7 minus 3?
4.
Just 4. Okay? Now, it has to be negative because the 7 is the bigger one. You guys with me? Okay. What's my factored form? Carlos, give it to me.
It would be C minus 7 and times C plus 3.
Do we agree? Very nice. Okay? Guys, your homework today is all about this. Okay? It's going to be a lot of factoring, a lot of stuff. Don't just factor it. I know some of these are going to be easy. Make sure you show your work. I want to see this for all the questions. I want to see that you tested multiplying it. I want to see that you tested adding it together. Okay? I want to see where your answers came from. You may have to test a few numbers. Okay? It's not going to come to you right away. So just think about, okay, let me test all the factors of this number and let's see which ones can be added together, which ones can be multiplied to give me those two numbers. All right. At this time, you may take pictures and submit. It's under today's date, so 4-27, 4.27, and this is the 8.5 notes.
Can you finish writing this part when you get two numbers to multiply to get 15 and add to get another number that didn't get
8.
Oh,
Did you copy down that question, though?
no. I caught up with this.
I'll show you. It was